Welcome to the Watering Hole. We're sitting down today with Mr. Brent Cobb. How are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
We're doing fantastic, man.
Good.
It's a hot day out here in Pryor, Oklahoma, but you're getting to play the Born and Raised Festival. How is it?
Man. I've been wanting to play this festival a long time, dude. It was our set was a little bit. I was singing Straight to the Sun, you know.
Yeah.
So it was a little hot, but I have done harder things in the sun.
Yeah.
I used to work for a tree service crew. We'd be out there raking and cutting and sawing and hauling, and so playing music isn't so bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
And all
it
the
could
fans
be a lot
was out
worse.
there, you know, they were sitting out there listening too. So we were all in it together.
Perfect.
We were all frying together.
Perfect.
Yeah.
At least you had somebody to do it with, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
We were out here last year, and I do not remember it being this hot.
Somebody said that earlier. Yeah, and they even said like yesterday was like 75 or something. I think we got to have broke 80 today, I think, right?
So according to the weather app I got, it says it's 87 right now. It feels like 90.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I honestly thought it was hotter than that when I came out here.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. I'm from South Georgia, so, I mean, it's hot like this. You know, it's been a hot one. And it ain't rained down there in, I don't know, like 2 months. Yeah. It just rained now because of that hurricane.
Yeah. So where specifically in Georgia are you from?
Well, I always say I was born in Americus. I was raised in, I grew up in Ellaville, and I was raised in Richland, which it's like southwest central, about an hour south of Macon, right around Plains, Georgia.
Yeah.
About 3 hours south of Atlanta.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah. Nothing happening down there.
Yeah.
Are you, do you keep up with college football at all?
I don't, man. I enjoy chicken wings and beer. And I like watching football, but no, I don't keep up with it. I never have for some reason.
Yeah.
I love the dogs, but I don't keep up with it.
Yeah.
I just that way.
You can be a fan from afar, right?
I guess, man. I don't know. I just always was more focused on. I like the environment of it all. I like the atmosphere, but I'm damn. I don't know. My head doesn't keep up with numbers like that.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Ranks.
Yeah, for sure. So Georgia obviously has a very, very long history of producing a lot of really good country songwriters and all of them, and you are among that group for sure. Well, so you've got a long list of people you've written songs for, including yourself, like Whiskey Myers, Luke Bryan, Miranda Lambert, Kenny Chesney, all these like different artists out there. What's it like being a songwriter for them and yourself?
When you're getting cuts, it's cool, you know.
Yeah.
I always write for me. I never have tried to write for the market or for an artist. And luckily, I've been fortunate enough to have folks record stuff that I would write for myself anyway.
Yeah.
It's always nice when the lights are on and the babies are fed.
Yeah.
I just had Miranda just put a new album out today that has a song that I wrote called January Heart.
Awesome.
And it's awesome, man. I mean, it's amazing. It's a charmed and blessed life, and I'm grateful.
Yeah.
You know, to be able to do it. You know?
Yeah, that's awesome.
And to live on both sides of the spectrum. There's, I write like Whiskey Myers. I've known those jokers for 15 years.
Yeah.
And I've written several songs that they've recorded, or Steel Woods, Wilder Blue, but then also, like you said, I've written for Luke Bryan and all sides, man. I'm everybody's buddy. I like that.
Perfect.
So you brought him up briefly, but since we found out we were going to get to sit down and talk to you, I have to say you've written one of my all-time favorite songs, "Better in the Fall" by the Steelwoods. That song, I love that song.
Dude. Man, thank you. I wrote that song sitting on my parents' front porch. I had been out to L.A. already. It was probably 2006 or 7, and I had made that first album, No Place Left to Leave. Me and Rowdy, Jason Cope, who's the founder of the Steelwoods, he was already planning a band already. The Steelwood, he didn't have the name of it yet, but he was already building that thing. And I remember getting back home from Georgia after I went back and forth to L.A. for about a year and a half, and I only lived there for about 4 months, and I was like, I can't take no more of this. There was a drive-by shooting. There was a dude tried to carjack me. There was an earthquake, and it only rained one time. And so I was like, I got to go somewhere else. But anyway, so during that time that I moved back to Georgia for a second, I wrote that song, and I was Rowdy had such a profound influence on my writing. He was like my older brother, you know.
Yeah.
Not just musically, but as a person. And so when I sat down to write that, Better in the Fall, I was sort of writing it with those chord changes in a way that I would think, well, Rowdy would like this,
Yeah.
you know. And we actually recorded a demo version of it back then of me. There's a video from 2007 or 8 that I have somewhere of us rehearsing that song.
Wow.
And then when Rowdy and them when he finally got that band put together and he met Wes and he had the band put together, he was looking for songs and he had studio time saved up at Blackbird, and he hit me up and was like, all right, I'm pulling the trigger on all this, and you got any songs? And that was one of them that I sent, and man, they cut the hell out of it.
Yeah. I mean, anytime we're like just driving somewhere and we hear that intro, the dun 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 dun, it's like we automatically get like fired up. Like, let's go!
Yeah.
Someone crack open a cold beer. Let's go! We're
that
getting
whole
excited
first
now.
record, dude. Man, it's so good, man. I don't think people realize how great the Stillwoods are. They will,
Yeah.
but it's going to be too late. 'Cause, you know, now this is their last. I mean, I think they just played their last show, man.
Yeah.
It's bitter and sweet. It was crazy when he passed because I watched that band from the ground up. I
Yeah.
watched it be a vision of Rowd's long before it was ever a tangible, actual band. And he died, and then to watch it go on without him was already a weird feeling.
Yeah.
And yeah, now it's just it's like a huge tragedy, you know.
Yeah.
What I mean? It's crazy, man.
Yeah. For sure.
The day that I saw that they were calling it quits, I think I teared up a little bit. It was like
For real, cuz. Yeah, it's I get it. I love Wes. I love everybody in that band so much, and I feel, you know, I wrote like 6 songs or so on that first album, and I feel very much a part of that whole project. I cried for real, you know, when they were really calling it, but I understand though too. I know Wes, man, that'd be a heck of a thing to continue on, you know, that he and Rowd started, and there's a lot of pressure on him to do things that maybe live by whatever he would think Rowdy would want. Anyway, I get it. All I'm saying is much love to the Stillwoods and Wes and everybody involved in that whole deal.
Yeah. For sure. For sure.
Yeah, anytime
we got deep
we're
there for a second.
well, I had to bring that song up because, like I
with you.
said,
Yeah.
I love that song, and
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
and we have this kind of little running joke. Anytime something happens, and like, especially if we're like trying to book guests for our podcast, and someone says no or whatever, we're like, we'll try to catch them in the fall. They're usually better anyway, or something like that, you know.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, it's an inside joke for sure. Like anybody that has kept up with the podcast, they'll
They know about it.
They'll know.
How about that? Yeah, I always felt like I was better in the fall anyway. Like, I'm ready for some fall weather right now.
Yeah, right now, especially.
And love, you know, when I'm better in falling in love than I'm actually am being in love.
That's hilarious. So like, and there's even like more songs. Like one of my favorites that I know that we is Bar Guitar in a Honky Tonk Crowd. Like that's a very fast paced, awesome Whiskey Myers song.
Sure.
So like when it comes to whenever you're writing songs, what's like your inspiration when you sit down to write a song? Like, are you just pulling ideas, or do you have an idea that you expound upon?
Well, that one, Bar Guitar, man. I mean, it varies.
Yeah.
For that one, I was 16, and you know, we'd go ride dirt roads.
Yeah.
And we wound up at Flanagan's Mill, which is just this mill pond that's off this Flanagan's Mill dirt road. And me and all my buddies were riding around, and we were sitting there smoking a joint on this old wooden bridge at the mill pond, and I was watching the embers float up through the pine trees, and I was like, man, I gotta write about this. And I had my guitar, so I just started banging on those chords and came up. I mean, that whole song was like fell out of the sky, you know.
Yeah.
Some of them do like that, you know.
Yeah.
So you were 16 when you wrote that song?
When I wrote it, yep.
Wow.
And I recorded it when I was 18 or 19 with Dave and Shooter after we had met. And then I moved to Nashville in 2008. and that was after L.A. And I was playing Rowdy had put together a band, and we were playing at I think the Three Crow in East Nashville. And Leroy Powell, who played guitar with Shooter for those, like, he was a part of the original 357s.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow he got hooked up with Whiskey, and they were asking if he would produce that Firewater album.
Yeah.
And so they were in the process of doing that, and they were looking for that. They felt like the album needed a couple more songs, and Leroy brought them out to our little showcase that night at the Three Crow, and brought both Cody's and John might have been with them too. And I was playing bar guitar in a honky tonk crowd right when they walked in, apparently.
Wow.
And Cody was like, "Damn, we need a song like that. Damn, let's just do that song." And so they cut it, man, and it's been such a cool, like, long-lasting song. You know, it just don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. And I've even heard, like, other bands, like, do covers at live shows.
Blows my mind.
One of my favorite covers, and I don't know if you've ever heard them do it before, is Trio Revival. They used to do a cover of Bar Guitar and Honky Tonk.
Maybe I did see like a clip of somebody one time. Yeah.
And it's fantastic. They do it just as good as Whiskey
That's what's
does.
up,
It's
man.
awesome.
I mean, everybody record. I have no rules. If I write something, I want everybody to record it.
That's awesome.
I hope they will.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That was another question I have is what your relation was to Dave Cobb,
Mm-hmm.
and you said he's your cousin.
Yeah, so apparently Dave is my third cousin removed, whatever that means. I don't know exactly. But we didn't know each other growing up. He's about 15 years older than I am.
Really?
Let me see now. His grandpa was my grandpa's my grandpa was the youngest of like 6 or 7 siblings.
Wow.
And so his oldest brother was almost old enough to be his dad. Dave's grandpa was the oldest brother's son. And so he and my grandpa were close in age. And we didn't know each other. Dave grew up in Savannah. Obviously, he's older than me. And we met, at my great aunt, his grandmother's funeral.
Wow.
And in 2005.
Wow.
Like a year after I graduated high school. And he had not really done a whole lot. He had done that Put the O Back in Country Shooter album, but I didn't even know that. We were standing around there. I'd been listening to that album, but I didn't know. And I kind of remember reading, like, Dave Cobb. I was like, damn, what a coincidence. Dude's name is Cobb. Didn't even think about, like, we could be related.
Yeah.
And so after the funeral, and everybody in my family is musical. Mm-hmm. And so I was sort of skeptical. It was like kind of being an asshole, really. I mean, I was like, hey, man, heard you're a big-time record producer. What have you produced? And he listed off a few things. He said, Put the O Back in Country. And it blew my mind. And because that's all me and my buddies have been listening to. And I had made a little 6-song acoustic demo. And my dad and my grandma were shameless enough to give him that little 6-song demo after his grandmother's funeral.
Wow.
And he listened to it. He and Shooter called me a few days later. Changed my life.
Wow. That's crazy.
It's crazy.
That's
it's
crazy.
Some crazy shit.
Yeah.
I don't know. I had just gotten off work that day. I think I might have already said this, but we had just gotten off work. Me and my buddy had smoked a joint, and we were sitting at my parents' house. I didn't have a cell phone or anything. House phone rings. We're like 30 as hell, been cutting trees all day, and stoned to the bone. And the phone rings, house phone. I pick it up, and hey, is Brent there? Hey, this is him. Hey, it's your cousin Dave. We met at Grandma's funeral. I listened to your demo, and I got Shooter sitting here with me, and we want to fly you out to L.A. and record a record. And I was just like looking at my buddy sitting at my mom and dad's kitchen table, stoned, and I was just like, holy shit. And it was crazy, man. It really was crazy. That's really what started all of it.
That's kind of funny. This is the second phone call story we've had on this podcast about Dave Cobb.
What's the other one?
So we talked to Red Clay Strays back in May, and he just produced their record.
Oh, yeah.
They just put out Made by These Moments, and they were like, yeah, we were at like a Waffle House or an IHOP or something like that,
That
and they're
sounds
like,
accurate.
and they said like, they just like went outside and took a phone call like, hey, this is Dave Cobb. And they're like freaking out. That's hilarious.
Man, them dude, I've known them jokers a long time too. Man.
Really?
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, that we first met probably in like 18 or 19, and they would cover 30-06, and Drew came up, Brandon maybe came up too, and we wrote, and they've been cool, man. I cannot believe their success.
Yeah.
Dude. It's so awesome, and
Yeah.
I remember Drew calling me top of last year, the year before that, and they started having all this label interest. It was whatever the year that they did that El King tour and they did the Eric Church tour. Was that last year? Or the
I
year
think that
before?
was last. Yeah, I think it was last year.
Either way, it was that year, and those tours had not happened yet. And Drew was like, "Man, we're starting to get this label interest and agent interest." And he's like, "What do you can we send you stuff? What do you think about it?" And I was like, "I don't know what I can really tell you, man. You're talking to the wrong guy." But I will say, if y'all are doing those tours, at least wait until after those tours, because there's no way people can come to y'all's show and see you live and not become a fan, because
Yeah.
it's amazing. And
Yeah.
and they waited, and the end of that year, man, I mean,
Bam. Wow.
badass.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. So I had another question about your music that you've put out as well. So I saw that you put out a gospel album. I think it was either last year or the year before. So what was the inspiration behind kind of, and it's also like not like your traditional gospel album cut either. It's got a different sound to it for a gospel album. So what was the inspiration behind making that cut?
Well, first of all, my heroes, Johnny Cash or
Yeah.
Willie or Dolly or whoever, they all at some point put out gospel albums. I grew up in Southern Baptist church, and I knew someday I would do that. It feels like a rite of passage.
Yeah.
And but then Dave also grew up in the church, and that's the last album we've done together. But I knew I had to do it with him, and I just hit him up one day. I was like, "Man, when are we gonna make the gospel album?" And he's like, "Grandma would be so proud." And so we went in the studio, and there's just some things that, like, yeah, we got to do it in our own, like "Are you washed in the blood?"
Yeah.
A little rock and roll.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just thought it'd be fun. He thought it'd be fun. Somebody's trying to call me. Hold on. Josh Morningstar. Let's answer. You know him? One of the greatest writers of our time. Wrote a bunch
answer.
of Cody Jinks stuff.
Let's answer it.
Hey, Josh.
Hey, bro.
Do you mind if I have you on speakerphone? I'm in the middle of a interview here at the, what festival are we at?
Born and raised.
Born and Raised Festival.
Oh, man, do your thing, brother. I'll talk. Are you traveling tomorrow?
I am, yep.
Okay, what time will you be on the road? I'll just call you during the day.
We'll leave tonight, so we're on the way to Green. We'll be there at 8 in the morning. Me and Josh, can I just say something real quick while you're on here?
Yeah.
First of all, I know you're going to be like, answer them just to show people, but it ain't that. But me and Josh wrote Living the Dream on the newest album.
Yeah.
Josh wrote, damn, what's the big Cody one you wrote? You wrote a bunch of them.
Brother.
Say again?
There's 17 of them.
I know there's a bunch, but you know which one I'm talking about.
I was just rubbing it in. It must be the whiskey.
Must be
Oh,
the
yeah.
whiskey.
Yeah.
That's why I already told him while you were calling that you've written several of them, but I just wanted. Anyway, Josh Morningstar, people, songwriters of our time.
Oh, brother, I love and appreciate you, man. I'll call you tomorrow.
I love you so much. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye. Hell,
That was
yeah.
awesome. We
Hey.
never had a
Yeah,
never
that's
had
awesome.
a call in on
That's
that.
awesome.
Crazy.
Yeah. We'll just sit here for a couple hours, just keep
Keep
talking,
digging.
and then we'll just see who else calls. You never know.
Never know.
Yeah.
Is there a song out there that has meant a little more than another one to you? Like, has there been something that's just been so special that you've got to be a part of or write or?
I don't know, probably, but I can't really. No, I don't know right off the top of my head.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy to write all of them. I'm grateful that whatever keeps sending them down. I'm just glad to write.
That's awesome. So whenever you're not writing songs or performing music or talking to world famous songwriters. What are you doing? Do you have any hobbies or anything like that?
I have 2 kids and a wife, and my daughter's 10, my son's 5. So I'm daddy, you know.
Yeah.
Right when we get off the road, I jump in being dad.
Yep.
And I like to grill. I like long walks on the beach. I don't know. I'm just my hobby is music.
Yeah.
And I've been fortunate enough to turn it into a living and a profession. But yeah, I mean, I like fishing and stuff. But
Yeah.
no, I mean, I don't know. I'm just out here living, man.
Yeah.
Do you have like a guitar collection or anything like that, or you just kind of have your favorite one and that's it?
Yeah, I got a few cool guitars. One of them, I have a cool Gibson LOO that I got in 2017. There are only 19 of them in the world. It's a limited, and it's like a little small body guitar. And we were playing Tonder Festival out yonder across the pond in Europe, and there was a storm and a bunch of wind, and it blew it down and it knocked the headstock off of it. And luckily, there's a luthier there on site, so he put that on. But then we left it on a train in Germany, and so luckily we recovered it from the train.
Wow.
It's trying to make its way back over here to the States. But I love that guitar. And then today I was playing Gibson 1957 Gibson Country Western.
Oh wow!
That Luke Combs gifted me last year. We were he invited me to come on his stadium tour, and he got everybody else a wristwatch. And then he's thinking about me, and he's like, Brent don't care what time it is. And so he got me this amazing vintage Gibson guitar.
Wow. That's incredible.
It is incredible, man. It's crazy.
What all new stuff you got in the works coming out?
Oh, well, I'm going to go in with, well, I don't want to say who yet, but I'm going to go make a record in November or December that'll hopefully come out in the spring of next year. We're going to record out in L.A. And always got something brewing.
Awesome. Yeah.
You on all social medias, TikTok, Instagram, all that stuff?
Yep, Brent Cobb.
Okay.
Like Brent on the cob, like corn on the cob.
Perfect.
With 2 B's.
All right, we'll link all that below. We can't thank you enough for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
y'all for
awesome.
having me, dude. Thank you, really.
Thank you.
Yeah. Cheers, man.